usual startup of seeing who I am that can see my thoughts, I'll just add another thought to that to not think about, because we're doing mindfulness. There's times when we react and we find ourselves just reacting. And there's times when we catch it and say, oh, am I going to let that fly or not? That's part of awareness, when we catch a reaction and decide. So just musing today on how is that sometimes I can catch it and other times I don't, because that's what the growth in mindfulness is about, to where hopefully in time I become 100% able to decide what all my reactions are going to be. But where is that I decide whether I'm going to be aware or not to decide? Anyway, just a fun starting thought. Just take a moment. All right. Anyone else have thoughts to start us off before I jabber a bit?
I really like the question you put out there.
So I told Michelle earlier, we're going to look at authenticity or being authentic or whatever we want to call that for a moment. The psychology types say that we are 95% unconscious. I usually use the 90% programs, things like that. Point being that the majority of our free-floating consciousness is unconscious. It comes up and acts without us being aware, I'm going to be this way. And as we grow in awareness, more and more we see what's coming up and do I want to express that or not. And what they call the ego part of us really hates that. It gets really, how do I get to, or when do I get to just be me? Meaning, well, let's all be a Donald Trump or Pete Hegseth that just destroy the world because I feel like it. But really, that's the question. Am I going to let my programming from the past, from my genetics, determine how I express this energy? Or am I going to step back into awareness and decide? So which is our authentic self? The programmed self? This is the way I am. This is what I like. It's what I don't like. Or is it what we call our true self, awareness, that decides? And that's just a choice we all have to make. Nobody can say it should be this or that. Both options are available in us, and we just decide how do I want to live. So my point with addressing authentic is there an authentic self? And what is it, if there is? But that would have to be a choice I make, not something that can be defined or somebody else can prescribe. So what do we mean? We will often say, well, you know, we feel they are an authentic person or whatever. I just want to look at that today. I'm not going to try to define it in any sense. But what does that mean for us to be authentic? Because most of us, I think, have a sense we want to be. And I think it's related to our awareness. But yet, there's a bit of a puzzle there. And sometimes it's good to just let the puzzle float and see what it does to us. Any thoughts on this so far?
Yeah, it's on point because Michelle recently sent me like a questionnaire regarding relationships. That was fun to fill out. And I worked on the first question, which was, what is your non-negotiable? And immediately I put authenticity, no liars. So when I think of authenticity, I think you don't lie to cover yourself up, even including the white lies, the stories you make up just to boost your mask or your ego. It's, yeah, I did this, and maybe other people might think, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself, but I'm not going to hide it. Like, that's authenticity, not hiding behind a religious form, a mask, or something. You're just straight up, even if the truth hurts, you will tell me straight up, that's how you feel, that's how I view things.
Very good. Yeah. So, given that, I see it now dividing into the past and the present. Being authentic, then, in that sense, is being totally open and honest about what I've done before. I don't need to hide myself. And I like that. That sounds right. But in the present, I may feel a reaction come up and decide not to express it. Maybe say an old hateful reaction in me, or something mean. And that brings us to vigilance. I see it. I'm watching all the time. So, do I need to be authentic? Do I need to share all that, all the stuff that comes up that I choose better on? And I would offer no. You know, my choice is to go to awareness and make a choice. That's my authenticity. All the stuff that might come up in the background, and there's lots of it, are options I choose not to express, but my choice is my authenticity in the present, not all the junk in my mind. So just putting that out as a musing point.
My choice is my authenticity.
Yeah.
Relating also to what Anna said, because I think I see authenticity very similar to the way you see it. However, I believe that the authentic self in that sense is still, they're speaking their truth. Where did that truth come from? I think we're still not necessarily talking about what we call the true self or the natural self. We're still looking at, well, what programs am I, programs such as, am I Christian? Am I, or do I believe certain ways of doing things? So that's that's still our authentic self, because it's the one we think we are, and we're being true to that. So I'd love to see authenticity be deeper.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think we can deepen it. I think as we are deepening, we're deepening the authenticity as we practice making the choices, not to go with the program.
Right. And that's back to, if we identify what's called our true self, our natural self, as what we want to be. Once we've made that choice, then yes, as we awaken to this awareness, we become more authentic because we're becoming more of what we want to be.
Yeah.
I guess today I'm really poking at how much our choice is involved in all this. I mean, it's every second. And when I used the Course in Miracles, it calls that vigilance. You know, that we become vigilant close to 100%. Once in a while, something still pops up and grabs me, but if I want to be authentic as my true self or natural self, I need to be constantly vigilant. And that means giving up the right to occasionally take a day off and just be a jerk because I feel like I want to let my old self and its programs run loose. Yet some people would call that being authentic. That's the way I am, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, it's all about choice in the end. And why do some of us start feeling this awareness or the big love and then make that choice? Where I know others, some have seen it and just said, no, I'm not going there. So as mindfulness, as I'm teaching it, and as I see Buddhists teaching it, it's about making that choice to be what we call our true self or natural self, a being of awareness, compassion, and love. But I don't know, you know, if it's more than just that choice, you know. A lot of the Bible seems to point to that. A lot of the Psalms about, you know, becoming the love of God, Jesus' teachings, become the love of God, point to making the choice in that direction. It's just curious to me. I mean, I've made that choice. That's the core of my monk vows, in fact, is saying I'm going to choose that, attempt to be at that 100% all the time for the rest of my life. But I'm just musing, where do these choices come up from? What is our real choice? And not a choice like Barb gave the example based on my previous choice to be a Christian and whatever I thought that meant. So just poking and stirring, you know.
You did.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I never really went that deep. I always said, okay, authenticity means you're not going to lie. You're just always honest. But I never really, like this topic today, there's deeper layers to that authenticity to reach your quote-unquote true self. And there's so many, it's convoluted with the layers, you know, but I never really like tapped into that, like mentally. This is like kind of, you know, stewing in it. It's interesting to talk about today.
Okay.
Because, you know, when we did the fear thing, I was like, oh, my fear is intimacy and commitment because of the history of lies. So I include, you know, authenticity is not lying, even the smallest white lies. But I never really tapped in, you know, deeper than that.
Okay.
And that's going to be interesting to swim and find out.
Yeah, swim around in there.
I know for me, like I've talked about it before, like I really try to use the power of the pause, and like because I know my reaction is my program. If I'm reacting right away, that's the program. So if I pause, I have the ability to make that choice, and then I use discernment questions, and like it's like, why is something bothering me? Because it all comes. It's not about that person. Yeah. It's about me. Why is it bothering me? And then, you know, when I get down to that, then it's like, when I'm making the choice, is it I'm making the choice, my decision based on any external factors? Like, is it because I feel someone will see me some sort of way, or someone will have a judgment, or because I'm comparing myself to something, external, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus the springing of self is an intuition.
Mm-hmm.
The choice is, I feel like doing that. It's a
Yeah.
feeling, right? And it's not methodical.
Right.
The reasons for doing something shouldn't be based on comparison or judgment. The reason is because I get fulfillment
Mm-hmm.
out of something,
Okay.
you know, and my intentions with my words are kindness, you know, and I also have to realize, like, as long as I know I'm trying to be kind, I am not responsible for how things are received
Mm-hmm.
by another person. You know, and so it's like those external things. And then a mentor of mine told me once, like, what other people think about me is none of my business. And I love that. And that really checks me a lot of times, you know, to say, am I doing this because of this other person or what they make? And that's all programming. All that comparison and judgment, all that is programming. So I just really, like, now I find myself, you know, before it was always like, oh, even here, like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, or what. Now I'm kind of like, what do I feel like doing today?
Mm-hmm.
And if something comes to me in that moment, I'll just go do it.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of the time, well, I mean, as long as it's within the boundaries. But then I know it's something I truly feel like doing. You know, in that moment, and
Yeah.
then I find that those things become joyful because it's not planned. I'm not expecting an outcome. And that's the other thing. Am I judging the outcome of things? Because it's about the experience. And you gotta let go of the outcome and just sit in the experience itself.
Cool. Good explanation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That just kind of brings it to another question I muse on a lot, and I will just pose. We had a visitor here, Ye Ling, grew up in mainland China. Yet she came in and talked about the true self right off. And I've talked to Buddhists, and they talk about it. So it seems to me there is a true self that's common. Like, everybody from anywhere may know about it, and it's pretty similar, whatever they talk about it. And I would say, over the years that I've been doing this, that sooner or later, all but one person admitted an experience of what we call the true self, the love, you know, seeing in peace and beauty. And the one guy just rejected it. He said, no, I like being mean. I like to hurt people. And he lived that way. He was in jail for beating people up, you know? And he only came to group because his mother made him, because he was living in her basement. But he knew it. He knew exactly what we were talking about. There was one person that never would admit it. Now, whether or not they ever had actually experienced it, I don't know. But I'm just saying, of all the people I've spent time with, there's only ever been one that says they don't know what this is. What can we do to help awaken that in others, is my muse constantly. How do you awaken that in a Donald Trump or an Elon Musk or Netanyahu or the millions that support them, that choose that same kind of not aware, not authentic self? My only answer to date is just be it in front of them. Be authentic yourself. Speak from there, like you said, the kindness, because you can't tell someone they should choose that. You can't make them see it. If they don't come into that space naturally, they think you're just offering another religious view, say. And they have their own view, worldview. But anyway, something I muse on, because part of our job here as peacemakers is to awaken the desire to be peacemakers in others. You know, how do we do that? So
I I know a tool I try to use is I don't want to say inner child because that's such a, but it really is like when you were a child, what did you enjoy doing? Because that's before the conditioning, right? So it's like, were you, you know, did you enjoy music? Did that make you happy just listening to music? Or, you know, what would bring a tear to your eye, you know, when you see pain in others? And those are like authentic feelings to me. And I think some people can kind of resonate to that. Like, what comes naturally to you? Like, you know, do you enjoy animals? Because something in there has to be organic. And anything that's organic is non-conditioned, and that's true. And I feel that when they think about their child, now some people have had terrible childhoods, granted, but there is light in some of that somewhere. It's just digging past what's kind of murkied the waters in there, right? But or what's your favorite? Because music is the most like healing. Like, what's your favorite song? Why does that really resonate with you? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
Yeah, no, I get that.
yeah.
So let me just poke it a little further. How do you apply that in the checkout line with the MAGA guy behind you going off?
Is the MAGA guy behind me going off? I would try and ask. Well, first I would try and. Well, that's judgment, but I would be like, I would try and say something back to nature, like, man, I don't know, do you know if there's any fishing around here? Just like an off the wall question, which totally shuts down the train of thought, sends them left. You know what I'm saying? And even if he's like, well, he'd be like, I don't know how to fish, but they always want to give you an answer, so he'll tell you, well, you can find this there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, tactics, let's go.
No, that's a good
Real
one.
smooth.
You know, or have you seen, just off the wall, have you seen any really good movies lately? And then you learn more about that person and insights a little bit. Insightful question.
I like that.
When's the last time you laughed like a child?
Ooh.
I'm always laughing.
Is it a nervous laugh or is it childish laugh?
Thank you.
Childish laughs. Crying laughter.
Yeah, but it's off the wall questions just to go make them go left and get them off their train of thought.
That's a very good, and it also means finding the place in ourselves where many of us humans have a tendency to join the other energy, and you're saying no, make the choice to come back to a nice, clear, happy energy, and respond from that instead of feeling trapped in having to join there. That's a very powerful teaching, actually.
It is. It's kind of like a negative thought coming to you, and you're like, I have the choice to switch this, even if it's another person, because that's your mirror reality too. So you're like, nope. I haven't gone fishing for a while, so you totally switch that up. You're like, nope, not going down that lane.
Or pay a compliment.
Yep.
Especially with the checkout person,
Yeah.
you know, who's doing the same mundane thing 24/7. Be like, man, you're doing a great job. It must be crazy in here. And they'll just go down, go down the road.
So cool. Good thoughts.
Yeah. I think that's probably where I used to get the most of my practice. Going on that kind of thing was in the grocery store, because that's where I was most of the time. And Walmart.
That was part of the poem. Check out flirting with the elders at the express lane in the poem.
There you go.
Flipping the script.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good summary. Flip the script.
Yeah.
One
thing I picked up somewhere along the way, I just wanted to mention, is I do, Michelle, I think programming starts immediately. Baby on the mother's breast. That's where programming starts, I believe. It's just my opinion, for what it's worth. So, even very young children have some forms of programming and expectations about life. Just another thought.
Yep.
Well, I agree.
views on it.
Yeah. Even in the whole birth process has to be a little weird, you know? I mean, you've been
Oh,
just
gosh,
floating
yeah.
there real sweet for 9 months, and
Yeah.
suddenly you're,
Did I tell y'all I had a past life, one of the past life regression. I was in my mother's womb, and I saw all red, and I could hear her saying, no, 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 and I was like, no, 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 like I didn't want to come in, I did not want to come in at all. She had a cesarean section, and she was like, it was a trouble to get me out.
yeah,
They had to
Uh-huh.
cut me out,
wow.
but I was just like screaming, no, I don't want to be.
Were you a C-section?
I was a C-section baby.
Yeah,
I did not want to leave.
My first one wouldn't come out either.
I was like,
For
no.
a whole month late he was.
Now I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
My partner Kathy did a regression, and she says, I recall as a present memory that when it was time for my soul to go into the body, I was screaming, no, I'm not going
Wow.
back.
Yeah.
And they said, yes you are, and they shoved me into the body. Yeah.
So relatable.
Who knows how early
Yeah.
it starts.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And my granddaughter had a heart problem. So the instant she was born, they had to do surgery. And she displays traits of sociopathic behavior. And now she's been taught, you know, we don't use those traits, but like to inflict pain on others, because her first experience was incredible pain.
Wow.
You know, the surgery, just on the instant of being born.
Oh.
And yet she's still the sweetest person. It's not like, you know, it permanently affected, but the tendencies
Wow.
are there.
Mhm.
And I'm guessing it's because her first experience was this
Yeah.
horrible pain, which then makes me question, well, what happens to guys if they get circumcised on birth? No wonder guys have weird
Oh my gosh.
genital issues.
This is
I mean, the
another-
first experience
this is
or
another
awareness
topic.
of your
Wow.
genitals is pain.
So interesting. You're so right.
You
This
know?
is fascinating.
So, but anyway, that goes back to what you said, Barb. It starts somewhere, maybe even
Oh my
pre-birth,
Yes.
are building programs of what life is like and building programs to deal with it. We've been doing it a long time.
Lord.
Definitely fight or flight, you know,
Yeah.
survival. Like
That's-
that's the feeding. I feel like feeding program, but I think they're also trying to explore genetically if things
Yeah.
are passed down generationally through DNA.
I believe in that.
I think there's some of that, but I kind of come back to again, like it's like from the child perspective, it's they just walk around in wonderment.
Yeah.
And they're always asking why
Mm.
until they learn to stop asking why. And when
Some do, many children do.
And it's like, you know, if I stop asking why and I think I know, that's kind of like where some issues come into play. And if I start looking for the answers I know, right, I'm taking away from the wonderment that's available to me and the possibilities. I'm shutting it off before, because I'm looking for the answers
Yeah.
to feed my intellect.
Mhm.
You know, I'm true, I'm right.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the attempt of our, you know, brain self. I don't like to differentiate, but it is. We've already differentiated it. We're reintegrating as we awaken, so we just call it whatever, the ego, or. But it wants to authenticate itself, that this is me, I'm like this, and that need to be right is in there. Because again, it goes back to a survival need. When you're out there living in the wild, you need to know things and be right, or you'll get dead. You know, you need to be right about which foods to eat, don't eat those red berries, do not poke the bear. And it's very strong because it's related to survival, and it's, the more awake I get, I can see it coming up now. Oh, yeah, I need to be right. No, I don't. Because it's coming from that part of me trying to authenticate itself as being right. So.
Well, I know I keep coming back. Like I think about Anna when you were talking about how like I just want you to be honest, and it comes back from past, right? Like, and then you ask the question like, who is the person hurting, right? And so like if they're hurting that person in the past, that's kind of because the awareness part and the true self part can't be hurt because it's independent of that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so like I'll ask I try to always ask myself, well, who's the one that needs to know that, right? Or who's the one who's feeling that way? And when I do that, that helps me kind of delineate between my authentic self and my ego self, or my mask self.
Yeah.
Because it's the mask self, 9 times out of 10, that's doing the reactionary or
Yeah,
the trigger,
yeah.
that's getting triggered.
Right.
And then so it's like, why is that triggering me? Why am I so they lied to me? That's on them.
Yeah.
Why does that hurt me? And that's that feeling disrespected.
Yeah.
You took advantage. You betrayed my trust. But then that's part of the expectations that no one should do that. And then when I get into the shouldas and the couldas and the wouldas, that's part of the kind of the programming for me and stuff like that. Like, So.
Ooh, that's a strong program for me. I see what you're saying, but for me, it's like I can't apply that right now.
Yeah.
It's like,
What's a non-negotiable?
It's like, dang, you lied to me again, and then I'm like, no, but my true self is Gucci though. But it's like, no, you did it again.
No, but that's a matter of boundaries.
Yeah.
If you can see your reaction, and it's like, no, I just don't want to live in a relationship like that. That's now awareness.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with just saying goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you get caught in that hurt, that's where we hurt ourselves further by saying, oh, dang, they lied to me again, and now I'm so hurt, I'm going to have a rotten day, maybe a rotten month. The clarity is being able to step out of the hurt feeling, but note it. No, that's not what I want to have in a relationship, so I end that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I don't process things because I witnessed the lying, the betrayal, whatever, and then I immediately cut it off because I'm really good at ghosting and just leaving things. But the process is not processing that or evaluating that. I just cut it cold and I don't look at it.
Yeah.
But then that's when the buildup becomes, and it's like, and it comes back, and it's like, did you really process that though, Anna? And then sometimes I feel like, resentment, revengeful, and then that kind of feeling. So my practice is that slight in between stage where I notice that I go cold, but I never really sit with that in between phase where it's like, I don't know, that's that deep processing.
Yeah, and that little gap is what
that's that little gap
mindfulness
right there.
is all about.
Yeah.
Just take it. Sometimes it only takes a second. Oh, that really made me feel hurt. Yeah, okay. And you can let it go and just say, no, idiot, go away, and you're done. But you're right, it's not spending a second in that gap to just consciously process it and acknowledge it.
Because I am avoidant. That was my personality trait. Like, not even gonna look at it.
Yeah.
Cut off by,
Yeah.
And
And
they're like, why are you so cold, Anna? I'm like, because I never really just sit with those emotions.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, maybe one time or in a phase, we need to sit with them longer and deeper to kind of understand them better. But then in time, it's just, oh yeah, there's mine's the fear of being rejected. It's like, and I want to just put up a cold front and, I don't care. whatever.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, but once you've identified it, now when it comes up, I can say, oh yeah, there's my fear of rejection. It's okay, buddy. Well, you're fine. Calm down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't have to go back into it every time and
Mm-hmm.
spend much time there.
Mm-hmm.
But I am aware of it for just
Mm-hmm.
that gap time.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, there it is.
It definitely brings it back. Yeah, this is a good mindfulness session. Because in childhood, the main concern was, for me, was emotional neglect. Because if you know about Asian parents, they're not really affectionate.
I don't know.
And yeah, they're known not to be very affectionate at all. And with like everything going on, it's like I never really had that. And I think that's where the trust comes from. You never had that motherly or fatherly bond where they always held you as a baby, kept you safe, communicated with you. It was never even a topic. So it's so foreign, and that's why even here now, I'm just like, emotion, skip that, cut off, I don't like you, you're never gonna see me, and I fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And I never process it. But then it's like, oh, that little thing that comes
Yeah.
up again, I'm like, oh, how dare you, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Oh, and, oh my gosh, just being here for the past 6 months, it has helped me, for real, just looking at emotions. And even you guys can tell that sometimes I'll just randomly just cry, because I just don't hold back anymore. I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I feel it, then I'm just gonna
That's
let it go.
good. Yeah.
You know, but before then I was just like,
Yes.
no, you're not gonna see me cry. No.
Okay.
But now I'm just like, okay, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
That.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it definitely helped me release
Mm.
that control.
Mhm. Cool. You're due to have some fun here then, learning to swim in the little gap.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
that gap right there.
Yeah.
It's that gap.
Yeah.
So it was right in front of my face too. I've never noticed it. I thought it was just step one,
Yep,
step
yep.
two, but there was
There's
another.
always a choice, and that
Right
choice
here.
is to skip that gap. But
You're
that'll
right.
be conscious to you now. You'll start catching it. Yeah.
And that's mindfulness right there. That's that awareness. Yeah.
Yeah.
That quick second.
Yep.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna take us offline.